What's happening, everybody? It's Scott with the Gaming Outsider. On this week's episode, it's just CB and myself. We're discussing whether we prefer sequels to our favorite games or new intellectual properties. In news, there's plenty to talk about with Microsoft's Inside Xbox livestream from the week, and we wrap up by talking about new games we've been playing, including Ion Fury, and then a couple games on the Switch called Grimvalor and Arcade Spirits. Let's get on with the show. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 294 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, May 11th. I'm your host, Scott Clark. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow co-host. First off, a guy who has a brand new title with The Gaming Outsider, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
Not much. I mean, I don't know if I want to tell him what my title is. Try to
Why
keep
not?
it secret.
It's a title. Tell him your...
Oh,
are
come
we
on.
not Are we really not telling?
No, we'll go ahead and tell him. So I am officially now the Go Store manager, because we are opening a Go Store on our website.
Yes.
It's going to be chock full of goodies. Both myself and our producer, Nate Lucas, we've been printing lots and lots of good, fun things for you. There's possibly going to be some other things showing up on the website as well for sale. So lots of new and exciting things coming.
Yeah, we're looking to expand our business, as it were. But don't worry. The podcast will still continue going. The community is still growing and thriving over on Facebook, Discord, Twitter, all that good stuff. But we're trying something new. I've been furiously painting some of the stuff you guys have been printing in my basement. I'm actually finding it very relaxing.
Some people do. I hate painting. You go ahead and keep doing it.
I really like it. I got some stuff I hang in my I got like a whole base of operations in my garage now. I hang stuff from the ceiling and spray paint it while it's hanging. And then I got my station set up in the basement. You brought over one of those, what do you call it? It's like a magnifying glass, the light on it.
Yes.
And I've been that's really difficult to get used to. I can't use it yet.
Well, we know you're over 40 now, so I just figured
it's not.
Your vision
I can
needed
see
help.
just fine without it, but if I ever start doing the really little stuff, I'm going to need a closer look. But I can't get the depth perception right with a giant magnifying glass, especially if I have to go dip into paint every time. Anyway, we're getting a little inside baseball here, but stay tuned on the website because there will be things, hopefully video game related, for you to pick up if you are so interested and help support us. So stay tuned for that. There's actually been quite a few changes going on with the Gaming Outsider. We've done some restructuring internally. We've given some new responsibilities to some people, try to expedite things and make things run a little bit more smoothly. And we're actually going to talk about that next week for our topic, which we'll get to later. But if this is your first time listening to the Gaming Outsider, welcome. We are glad you stopped by to check us out. We are a video game podcast. We spend each week talking about the week's news and talking about a video game-related topic of some kind. This week, we're going to be discussing whether or not we prefer, sequels to games that we've been playing or actual brand new intellectual properties. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we kind of wrap things up with talking about the games that we've been playing this week. But before we get to that, how's your week been, man? How you surviving the quarantine?
Kids are slowly driving me insane.
Yeah.
So, I can tell you my teacher's kids were liars when they say that they're a joy to have in class. So, but other than that, definitely keeping busy, running my 3D printer nonstop, communicating with you and our producer, Nate, just trying to get everything squared away and ready to go. So,
yes. Yeah, trying to get things running like a well-oiled machine, and looking forward to that. Also, I know that David Newman from our community is organizing a community game night for this weekend. I believe on Saturday, which, what day would that fall on? Today's the 11th, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So that would be, what day would that fall on?
I don't
12,
know.
13, 14, 15, 16th.
Yes, it is.
That would make the 16th. We're going to be doing a community game night. We're still unsure what that game is going to be. We've been toying with something cross-play. I threw out the possibility of doing a Gears of War night because I haven't played Gears of War in forever and would love to do some, go versus go matches. That just sounds like a lot of fun. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on the Facebook group and Discord because we haven't played any games together in quite a while, and I want to get that going again. So, I tell you something kind of totally not game related, but bought some new toys today. Well, not toys. I bought old people toys. That sounds dirty. Got a new bed. Bought a brand new bed. Put that together today. It took me about 4 or 5 hours to put that together.
Does it
fit?
fit?
To tear down the old one. It fits. My wife is right. It fits. We upgraded to a king size bed, and that thing is massive. Not only is it like a bigger bed, it feels so much taller off the ground than my old bed, which is crazy. That and this is how old man I am. I bought a new mower today, and I'm really excited.
Hey, I was excited the last time I got a new mower.
Oh, man, I love mowing the lawn. I can't wait. Do you know what kind of oil to put in it? I haven't put oil in my mower in a long time, and I can't start it until I put oil in it.
I have no idea because mine doesn't need that.
10W30 or 5W30. 10W30 works. We'll figure it out, but I don't want to start it without oil in it. So anyway, if you haven't been able to tell already, Zach unfortunately is not joining us this week. We had some technical difficulties with his recording equipment when we started. We actually sat here for hour and a half?
About an hour and a half.
Out.
Yeah.
And
I miss you, bro.
finally gave up. It just wasn't worth it trying to get it squared away. So we do miss you, Zach. Sorry you can't be here, but CB and I will try to give you an entertaining show in the meantime. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. I think the biggest thing that happened this week was Microsoft's Inside Xbox event, which people were really excited about. They wanted to see what's going on with the Xbox Series X. And although we didn't really get any information about the console, we did get that the boot up screen. Did you see the new boot up screen for the Xbox Series X?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't need to be anything flashy, man. Just let me see the games. Let me play them.
I know. It's a silly thing to get excited about, but it kind of made me happy that was there. The big thing that they kind of sold this presentation on was that they were going to show gameplay from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which we'll get to because I don't really think there was gameplay in that trailer. But anyway, so here's the list of games that they did show at this presser. First off, a game called Bright Memory Infinite. We got a new game in the Dirt series, Dirt 5. A game called Scorn. Another one called Chorus, but the U in that is actually a V, so it looks like Corvs, but it's actually pronounced Chorus. Saw some footage from Madden NFL 21, and then Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. New game called Call of the Sea. Another, The Ascent, and then The Medium. Scarlet Nexus, Second Extinction, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then finally Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So, all these games, did anything stand out to you, man?
Almost all of them. So, I mean, I have little bits and pieces about each one of them that I'm kind of excited about, like Bright Memory. The fact that, first off, this game was made by one guy.
Remember when I showed you that trailer and I said, dude, this is made by one guy, and you said no.
I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I still doubt it.
Apparently this game is on Steam already for early access, so you can actually play the game right now, but it's coming to Xbox. But this is the first time I had seen or heard of it. It somehow fell into my radar. The trailer looks cool because it starts out as a shooter, and then at some point you're fighting a guy with a sword and shield with a gun. I don't know if I remember ever doing that in a video game before, and that seemed kind of cool. And then it felt very, oh man, what's the name of that game that we were saying?
Bulletstorm,
where you get the whip and you're pulling things towards you and it slow-mos. That was really cool. It just felt like it was going through multiple different genres in one trailer or one level, whatever it was.
I read a little on the story of it. Apparently, like, there's displaced samurai in the future, and you're fighting them. But yeah, everything about this screams like a better Bulletstorm. It looks gorgeous. It looks pretty. Like everything that I saw in that, like, I can't tell if it's a cinematic trailer, but everything just looks so fluid. I like I said, I cannot believe that this was made by one guy. So
Yeah, it almost makes you think that he had to have some kind of starting place, like that where he did. I don't know how development works, but it looks incredible. It looks stunning, and to hear that's made by one guy is crazy.
yeah.
One that stood out to me, which I know it sounds silly, but Second Extinction, I think looks like a lot of fun. It reminds me of like a Left 4 Dead or a Earth Defense Force, but with dinosaurs.
So you mean it's Left 4 Dead meets Turok?
Yes, there you go. I think apparently it's 3-person co-op, and it's just going around and shooting a bunch of dinosaurs. And I think some of the dinosaurs fight alongside you as well. Apparently there's a beta for the PC version, but it's going to be coming to Xbox sometime in the future. I haven't played Left 4 Dead in forever. I haven't played Earth Defense Force. I kind of miss those co-op games. I know that we played a little bit of like World War Z, which you liked a lot better than I did.
Yes, I did. But I love those co-op games.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, we've been sitting on Borderlands for forever, and we keep talking about playing it, and we should. But even that sometimes, I have. Oh wait, let me check out my guns. I just want to. I'm not saying this game is dumb, but you know what I mean, like just a mindless
shooter.
Shoot everything with your buddies.
Yeah,
I feel like we haven't had one of those in a while.
Yeah. I'm really excited for like Scorn though, over the fact that it's a first person game, but all the artistic elements are straight out of like the H.R. Giger wheelhouse.
And you're gonna have to tell me what that is, because you tried to explain it to me when we talked about it at the house the other day. But who is this?
He's the guy who created a book that all of the Alien series, like all that artistic background and like the alien itself and the hive, like that's where all that artwork comes from.
Gotcha.
It was all based off of his work from a book, the Necronomicon, I believe.
Oh.
So
okay.
That to me just trips my trigger so hard.
Well, you're such a huge Alien fan, but this trailer, and apparently this game has been known for quite a while.
Yes.
It wasn't like this was the first time this game has ever been revealed. It's the first time I heard of it. But that trailer was a little
risque.
I don't know if erotic is the right word, but
But that's how his artwork is.
Yeah, there's always like this sensual feel to that art for some reason.
Yes.
And I feel like horror was kind of a big theme in this whole presentation. Like, these scary games are a thing.
Oh, I love horror games. Don't you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Zach, even though he couldn't be here, asked us to give a shout out because he's really excited about that Chorus game or Corvs game, however you want to pronounce it.
Yes.
Which I am all about that, man. I miss flight games like that. Like, I mean, it looks like a Star Fox, but obviously with current graphics and a little bit more fidelity. I don't know. I haven't played a game like that in a long time. Reminds me of what's the game from the original Xbox we always talk about? Behind the plane, Crimson Skies.
Yeah.
Where it's a third person behind the aircraft or spacecraft in this case. Female protagonist or protagonist.
Well, to me, it looks like a space shooter crossed with Control.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because
it's got that fluidity to it.
Well, the fluidity, but a lot of the art elements kind of look like inside the oldest house. So
I didn't think about that, but you're kind of right.
Yeah, and it almost has like a little bit of like Hellblade stylization to it as well.
Right,
like those shots on her face. I'm like, that looks really good.
I've missed that kind of game, and I feel like we haven't had one in a long time. We get tastes of it buried inside other games. Like, the Battlefront games had a little bit of like third person flight or whatever.
Yeah.
This just looks great. Another one, Call of the Sea, which was interesting because I'm watching this and I'm like, man, that voice sounds familiar. Turns out it was Sissy Jones. Yeah. I actually texted her and I was like, is that you in Call of the Sea? And she's like, yeah, I'm really excited about that one. So that was...
Dude, it's got mer people in it.
That, and here's what's funny is we have a little thread going with a bunch of our writers, and there was like borderline an argument about who was going to get to cover this game because everybody wanted to play it. So
Yeah.
Everybody's really excited, Sissy. Congratulations. It's so cool hearing her voice and stuff. The Ascent. That one started out like a Cyberpunk 2077 ripoff, and then it turns into like a twin-stick shooter, like an isometric view twin-stick shooter.
To me, that's Diablo meets Cyberpunk 2077.
There you go. I'll take it.
So the one I'm really excited about is The Medium, because it's from Bloober, which is the same people that did the Blair Witch game.
Didn't they also do the one with the painting, the horror game with the paintings?
Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear, yeah.
And I've loved everything that they've done so far, so seeing another game from them, especially a new IP, gets me like really excited. The idea that you're like a medium that can travel between worlds throughout this story seems like a very unique concept.
I agree.
So I'm waiting to see more about that.
And Scarlet Nexus is another game that I was surprised to see on a Microsoft deal. This looked like something that Nintendo would reveal.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just something bright and this colorful, and that Japanese just seems like it was something that Nintendo would put on a Switch instead.
But it's Bandai Namco. Like, I almost expect an anime game from Bandai Namco every time I hear they're coming out with a new game.
Yeah. When I saw this trailer, I actually immediately texted Zach and said, "Man, this game has you written all over it." And he's like, "Yeah, it looks pretty cool." Turns out he was more excited about Chorus than that one, which surprised me.
Well,
And then 2 more, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I have not played a Yakuza game, so I have a hard time getting excited about these.
I want to get into them, but to me it seems like every time I see one, it's the same story, just told slightly differently. Like, guy joins the Yakuza, gets betrayed, and like, gotta go get my revenge now.
Right. Yeah. And then they closed everything up by showing the trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is a new trailer, different from the one they showed, 3 days before or something like that. And did not appear to be any gameplay. Did you see any?
But at the same time, we don't know, because we're starting to bridge that line where is it cinematic or is it actual gameplay?
I understand that, but I mean, when I hear we're going to be seeing a gameplay trailer, we're going to see somebody sitting and playing it for at least a minute. You know, like seeing what it's like. Nothing from that trailer made me think, oh, this is somebody controlling this. I feel like if they had said in-game footage, that would have been more apt, unless I'm just way off the mark and what was actually on the screen is playing, but I can't imagine that being the case.
Yeah, I'd have to break it down and look at it a lot closer to kind of get a feel for that. But
I will say that whole situation of it not being gameplay does not affect my excitement for that game at all.
No, I'm still beyond ecstatic for this one. So
yeah,
I like the new style format for those games. So
I'm digging it too. I mean, I miss the old Assassin's Creed. I do. But I do like this, but it feels like a separate entity to me. It's feeling less like Assassin's Creed and more like just an open world action RPG game. I'm okay with that. But can we go back to some classic Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, I really hope that they do integrate a lot of the assassination missions into this, but with the storyline, I'm not quite sure how they're going to do that. So
I don't know how you're going to do that with a Viking. When I think Viking, I don't think stealth.
Unless because you're invading England, unless you're going to be almost. Do you remember? I can't remember which game it was, but it had that like little tower defense segment.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Revelations.
Was it Revelations? But maybe you're going to be like in England, like in a forested area, and they're going to be transporting something through, and you have to assassinate or capture. Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. There's not as much time left for that game, though. I mean, we're already halfway through May, and that's coming up in the next 4 or 5 months.
I'm willing to bet the game's already done. They're just spit polishing and everything.
I hope so. I hope that's not delayed for sure. So what did you think of this presentation overall? Were you happy with it? I know everybody's on the internet's been grading it.
I was actually okay with it. I know.
Thank you.
We spoke with Zach earlier, and he gave it he's like, this to me was an A- presentation.
Mhm.
To me, I would have put it a high B. There's nothing about this presentation to me that was off-putting or let me down. Were there things that I would have liked to see more of? Yeah, but at the same time, they brought a bunch of new IPs to the table, a couple sequels, and there was nothing that I don't understand why people are disappointed.
Here, I'll tell you why people are disappointed. Well, number one, they were upset that they were promised gameplay trailer. And what was his name? Aaron Greenberg from Xbox actually came out and said that they handled it poorly. So they admitted to that they should have called it something else. I get that. I think that a lot of Xbox fans were also upset that Halo wasn't shown, Halo Infinite wasn't shown. They did mention it, saying that it would be shown in July. So that's coming. And I have to imagine that July is when we're going to see more of the first-party stuff. That's going to be a first-party event. This was not a first-party event. This is here's some stuff that you're going to be able to play on Xbox when it releases later this year. And I was all about it. I don't understand why people are grading this so poorly, like a D presentation and all that. People have been clamoring for years for exclusive games on Xbox or things that they can put together. And we got a whole bunch of brand new titles that we've never heard of before, that have never even been, we haven't even heard a lot of these titles ever before. And now people are like, well, where's our Halo? Where's our, the games that we were expecting?
People are just being too quick to jump the gun, looking for those tentpole titles.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that's what they relied on in the past, was their tentpole titles, and everyone complained that's all they did was relied on their tentpole titles. Now they did something that has not a single tentpole title in there, and all these new things, and then people still aren't happy. And understand, this is not because I'm an Xbox fanboy. This is not because I prefer Xbox. I would feel the exact same way if this were Sony.
Yeah,
I don't understand what is going to make people happy in general, unless they just get everything they want right now.
Well, look how disappointed I was with Sony's presentation from last E3.
Mm-hmm.
There was 5 or 6 games total,
mm-hmm.
and I wanted more. And now here we have this small presentation that has a ton of new titles, and I'm excited for it, but everybody else is like, no, this was terrible. Whereas
I don't understand terrible. I don't get it. I mean, if they had just thrown Halo in there as well, would everyone just be fine?
I feel if they would have put one, if they probably put one tentpole in that,
mm-hmm.
Everybody probably would have been like, oh my God, this was the best thing ever.
Right. Do we even know when Gears Tactics is coming to console? I know it's on PC right now. That would have been nice to have that information. Maybe see some Tunic.
Don't tempt me, boy.
I'm really frustrated by, and it's not just one or two outlets. I have yet to see an outlet that has said a whole lot positive about this. The Sony fanboys are obviously going to say it's terrible, no matter what, just because they can't say anything good about Microsoft. And to be fair, Microsoft fanboys are the same way about Sony. I get it, but I have not heard a lot of positive. I don't understand it. I thoroughly enjoyed this presentation. I really did.
Yeah. To be honest, they're the only ones that are actually putting out content right now.
Right.
So,
I have a feeling that July is going to be a big month for announcements just all around. That's going to be a huge news month.
But the fact that we're already getting all these trailers and gameplay footage from Microsoft, I don't get me wrong. Again, I do love Microsoft. I love my Xbox, but I want Sony to thrive, because for me, the only way that you're going to make better things is by having good competition.
Yep. And I want to play stuff on my PlayStation as well. Honestly,
yeah, I'm just waiting for Sony's response, and it's been nothing but crickets.
But that could also be a good thing. That could mean they're cooking up all kinds of sweet stuff.
It could be. or maybe they just don't know how to respond yet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, much like everything else going on in the world, it's either one side or the other. It feels like you can't love everything. Do I prefer my Xbox? Yes, but that's mostly because I'm integrated into that ecosystem and the achievements, and I've grown more accustomed to that controller. Some people are the exact opposite with Sony, but I still like to play both.
Yeah,
I just can't understand why this was a failure of a press conference. This isn't E3 season yet.
Oh, I think it's just because we're getting so close to a new console that we aren't seeing stuff on the console or those first party titles.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's just clamoring for the hotness.
Right. But sometimes less is more, man.
Yeah.
And this got me excited for a whole bunch of titles that I've never heard of before and makes me want to go look for more. And some of these games aren't coming out for till next year.
Yeah. I think majority of them are
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the, what was it, Inside Xbox event. Let's go ahead and move on. We got one other story, and we'll dance around this one a little bit, but I had to talk to you about this on the show. And I was hoping Zach would be here too, because I thought this was interesting.
You really want me to tear my hair out, don't you?
I do. It's going to be difficult to make this family friendly, but this will be interesting. Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that we all know is coming out. So many of us are excited. The game has character customization, which is not, it's just is par for the course for a game like this. Although you couldn't really customize Geralt in Witcher, you were just always Geralt, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, you'll be able to customize yourself in many different ways, including your nether regions. You will be able to customize.
Why? Why did this need to be a thing?
I don't know. I don't know. The memes are already running a plenty all over the place with this.
Yes, I know.
And the funny thing is, this isn't the first time this has happened. You could do that in Conan Exiles.
For me, as much as I hate to say it, this is kind of off-putting for me for this game. Like this is something that kind of annoys me because we're starting to bridge that line where it's like, when is it a little too much?
I don't understand the need, and to be fair, we don't know to what length it is yet. It was basically something that was captured. I did not.
Yeah, you made a dad joke.
I really didn't mean that. Jeez. I don't know to what extent. Is that better?
Not much, but
how detailed we will be able to do this customization. We don't know how big of a deal it is. Stop.
That's the problem with this article. Is like you've opened the box and now it's just like it's made this too comical. Like
you almost can't take it seriously anymore. Like the rest of the game, you can't take seriously.
Yeah, like to me, it's just like, hey, you know what? And what's gonna piss me off? Like this is legitimately gonna piss me off. Is if there's like some stupid side quest buried somewhere in the game that, depending on how you customize certain things, it's gonna affect like an audio dialogue tree. Like,
so if you didn't make yourself a certain girth, then you're going to be locked out of certain side quests.
Yeah, like and as many side quests as there are that are supposedly going to be in this game, like if that becomes a thing, I am going to eject this game and just not play anymore. Because like I said, at what point is it too far? I mean,
is this game trying to push the envelope with that? Because remember when the game was first announced and we had all the, I don't know, they were trying to like there's multiple genders. I guess you can choose from. They're really trying to go for that, which I appreciate. I don't know who this is for, and I don't know.
And that's the problem. Is like to me, this feels like a joke. Like
You
it's just
you think
one.
it'll actually be there, and this is something that maybe they were test marketing, and then they'll
No,
pull it.
like they've openly said it's going to be there, but I mean, come on, like this is. I'm kind of showing my age here,
Mm-hmm.
but like this is dumb, man. Like you don't need this. Like it's a game. Like the fact that now I know when this game comes out, there's just going to be a multitude of screenshots. I'm like, ha, look what I did. Like this is funny. Why?
13-year-old you would have thought it was funnier than hell, though.
Actually, no, because I want to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of the time when there's like all these crazy random customization things, I just hit random and play the game. I don't care.
I think I tried once in Skyrim to make a character look like me, and I realized I don't understand how art works. I don't know I don't really know how to describe what my nose looks like or how deep set my eyes are. The problem is if you do random, you get some really messed up looking characters.
Yeah, but you just click it a few times. You're like, okay, this looks good enough. Let me play the game. Mm-hmm. I don't want to sit here and spend 6 hours customizing a character.
Well, plus, how big a deal is this really? Like, is this going to be where it's going to be exaggerated to like a Saints Row level of ridiculousness, or is this just going to be, oh, there's a little bit slightly larger bulge than there could have been?
But again, why does that need to be a thing?
I don't know.
So, for those of you out there that love it, God bless.
I would like to hear from you. Like I legitimately want to know why this is something somebody wants. Why is this important to you?
Yeah. If you can give me a legitimate reason why this is important, I will listen to it.
Yeah,
but
same here.
But I have no desire at all to even like climb down that rabbit hole.
I'm with you. Well, as for the game itself, we'll get more details on June 11th about what else we've got to learn about that. Obviously, lots more. I'm still intrigued by that game, but I'm not as excited for that one as I am like Last of Us 2,
Avengers.
Avengers, I have still such a question mark.
Yeah,
I just really don't know what's going on with that game. I don't know. There's just other games I'm more excited for than that.
When is the release date for this?
You would ask me that. I'd have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head.
Because to me, I have a feeling this game is going to fall into the same category as Witcher 3 for me.
You're going to like it for the first few hours and then just never go back?
No, there's going to be another game that comes out like a week later that I'm like, nope, never coming back to this.
Yeah, I get that. I mean,
because with Assassin's Creed Valhalla coming like right behind it, man.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Cyberpunk is as large as as Witcher 3, or even more massive. Yeah, I see what you did there. September 17th is the release date. So.
Ooh, man, that's real close to Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
Because Valhalla is what, Thanksgiving?
I'm with you. I'm more excited for Valhalla than I am Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But that's another. I still feel like I don't know enough about Cyberpunk either. I mean, we've seen some gameplay. I don't really understand the gameplay. I want to see what makes this game amazing. I think that a lot of this game's popularity is riding on their pedigree of Witcher 3 and just how massively popular that was.
And Keanu Reeves.
And Keanu Reeves doesn't hurt either. Definitely. But we'll have to wait and see. June 11th, we'll get more information. I'm eager to see what that's about. But that's about it for the news. Not a real big, massive news week. So before we go on to our topic for the week, CB, let's talk about Patreon. For those of you that, again, this is your first time listening, or if you've wanted to help us out in the past, we've got a Patreon page where we actually put together some extra bonus episodes for those listeners that contribute to our Patreon, on a monthly basis. What's available right now for our listeners?
Currently available is the Final Fantasy VII spoiler cast with you, Zach, and Brandon Smith and Patrick Klein.
Yeah,
as well as
that was a good conversation.
I'm willing to bet. I really wish I could have been a part of that one. And then Break the Seal, Super Metroid with you and Nate, our producer.
That was a fun conversation. Very well worth it.
Also sad. Darn coronavirus for just ruining my time.
Yeah, you just out like saving the world, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Got some upcoming episodes though that are going to be a real hoot. Later this week, you, Spencer, and I will be recording a drinking trivia game.
Yeah, apparently Spencer's got a whole bunch of video game trivia questions that he's put together, and we're going to sit around and do some drinking, and we're going to see who has the better video game knowledge by the end of it.
So
and
that'll be an interesting little trip.
I've been talking to the community about doing that concept for Patreon episodes with the community, but pitting a community member versus another community member.
Okay.
And seeing, because I think that would be a lot of fun too. So
yeah,
stay tuned for more episodes like that. I'm excited.
Yeah. Also got a retro reminisce on Chrono Trigger coming up with Chad, and a Break the Seal Uncharted collection with David Newman.
Yes, I believe that one's getting pushed back to June.
Yes.
Because of scheduling, but that will come out in June. But yeah, Chrono Trigger and the drinking trivia game will be this month for sure. So if those sound exciting to you at all and you'd like to get in on the fun, we've got those available on our Patreon page, which you can find at patreon.com/thegocast. Your donations do help us keep the show running, and we do donate every penny that we earn back to the community in some way, whether it be in making the show better or in doing giveaways. And speaking of, we've got 4 giveaways for this month. We have our normal giveaway, which we don't know what game that's going to be. We got a copy of Final Fantasy VII on PS4. We've got a $60 gift card and a $20 gift card, both of which have been donated by an anonymous listener that wanted to do something nice for the community, so we'll be giving that away. So, May is a big month for giveaways, so stay tuned for more information on that. We'll be posting on Facebook and Twitter and Discord and all that. You won't want to miss out on that. But let's go ahead and jump into this week's From the Outside In topic. So we talked above about the Inside Xbox event above, and if you couldn't tell, it really bugged me that everybody was just like crapping all over that event. People complained that Microsoft had no new IPs, which I don't understand. They gave us new IPs, and they're still not happy. So this got me to thinking, what do people actually want? The options are either new IPs or sequels to current franchises that you already love and adore. So I thought we could discuss it and see what our listeners thought as well. So CB, I'm going to start with you. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the new hotness, or do you want to get more of what's already good?
I like a balance of both.
That seemed to be a popular answer.
Well, to be okay, let me kind of delve down this rabbit hole a little bit before I get into some community responses. I like new IPs, but I also like sequels to IPs that I enjoy. Are there a lot of sequels that I feel are unnecessary? Yes. Specifically like sport titles. I don't feel that... hear me out. I feel that with like sport title sequels, you just need a roster update. That's it. Make it a DLC. Save some money. I don't know
if that's true, man. I think the hardcore sports enthusiasts, which I know we are not, would highly disagree with you. There are tweaks that are made. There are things that are changed each time to make it
But all
better.
Those can be solved with DLC.
Yeah, but then they can't sell a $60 copy.
Yep, but I guarantee you if you made a DLC, you'd probably have more people buying it. I don't want to dump $60 every year into a sport title. I love sport titles. I used to buy the Tiger Woods series like every year. I played them with Nate like all the time online. But it just got to the point that I'm like, okay, the graphics are a little bit better. There's some slight tweaks. Cool. I'd rather just play last year's version. Then you get into like the bigger franchises. I love new Assassin's Creeds. Do I feel sometimes they're a little rushed out? Yeah, Syndicate was terrible. So it
wasn't terrible.
No, it was actually it's not Unity level bad. But
Unity just had too much in it.
Yeah. But I feel that sometimes they just need to cook a little longer rather than just get pumped out constantly.
Right.
But at the same time, if all we ever got was just sequels to games, you wouldn't see like the new crazy things. Like I know it wasn't as well received, but the Blair Witch game was a new IP for, like, I loved that game.
For
I
video
thought it was,
games.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. So I'd like to see a balance of them.
I don't know if I would call Blair Witch a new IP. Because when you say IP, you know, if it's based on a movie franchise, it's not a new IP, right?
Okay, a new video game IP.
All right.
So that.
I would say a new video game franchise.
Yes.
Would probably be a better way to say that.
So, I mean, to each his own. I mean, that's just how I feel. I mean, there's some people out there that would love, I don't know, like every Tetris like rendition that's ever been done, because I kind of consider those sequels.
Well, there's a difference between a sequel and an iteration.
Okay, I'll give you that.
You know, if you iterate, I mean, you could argue that any new game iterates on some older game of some kind, right?
Okay.
I mean, anything that comes out today. We were just talking about that game that they showed at the Microsoft press conference. Oh, it looks like a Bulletstorm. You know, there's always going to be some semblance of some old game that it borrowed an idea from, and they just piece it together differently and gave it new characters and a new setting and new story and all that. But there's always going to be something that would be considered its roots, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, but again, see, for me, the biggest problem is, like, I think of, like, in movie terms, like, so, like Star Wars. Not everybody loved all those sequels. I personally enjoyed them, but there are some that don't.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, as fans get older, they become less and less possible to please.
Yes.
Remember when we were kids, we were happy just to be playing anything new. It could have been a terrible game. How many terrible games did you play on the NES when you were a kid?
Oh God,
but
tons.
It was better, huh?
Tons.
But sometimes that was better than just going through and playing the same game over and over again that you had played to death because that's all you had. It was something new that was different from what you were playing. Nowadays, kids have so many options. Adults have so many options. We all have just a plethora of games to play. And some of them don't even cost any money. How many free-to-play games are out there? Fortnite. You can jump in and play Fortnite and not pay a dime on it if you wanted to.
Yeah. And see, that's a great thing to bring up, because Fortnite necessarily doesn't need a sequel. It just does, like, the DLCs occasionally. They just update some things.
Mm-hmm.
So occasionally there are those game formats that don't ever need a sequel.
That's actually a good point. But I think that EA is fine with doing it this way because their fans will drop $60 on a new game. It's one of the best-selling franchises. I mean, FIFA's the biggest in terms of the sports ones. FIFA outsells all of them. But FIFA, Madden, these games sell like crazy. Why would they just stop and make it free to play and just do it an update and then lose out on that revenue every year?
So I completely understand why EA wouldn't want to, because they're selling like tons and tons of copies. However, I think that if they did, so you sell the next Madden at like $80, it'll still sell. But moving forward, rather than a brand new title every year, you do 2 downloads a year, charge $20 a piece. One with like some updates or tweaks to the graphics, and then
that won't work because that fan base is only going to want to pick that. There's a certain large subset of that fan base that is only going to pick up that game during the football season. They're not going to drop another $20 to play more Madden in the middle of summer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You do it a 2-phase way. You have the updated like graphics or anything for the hardcore ones that like want all that. But then when it gets closer to football season, you do it like a second DLC with all the updated teams and rosters for like $25.
They're still losing money that way, though.
they're making tons of money anyways. Make it all digital. Then you don't have to press discs and make packaging, and you could save a lot of money that way.
Yeah, I just think from their standpoint, if it's not broke, why fix it? If it's not going to increase their profits and only runs a risk of decreasing those profits, why take the chance?
Because at some point in time, you can only reinvent the wheel so many times. Like,
when did the first Madden come out? 93?
I made the thumbstick slightly more responsive.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay. Hey, I added if you double tap triangle, the guy stares at the camera harder.
But you're also forgetting one thing. Part of that whole deal with Madden is people love to play online with each other, right?
Yeah.
So if you make it online where all you have to do is have this roster update that costs you $20, right now, if you want to play with your buddy online and he's got the new Madden, you have to buy the new Madden. You have to go spend that $60 to go play that. You don't have to go download a $25 roster update. You don't have to buy a $40 pack. You have to go buy a $60 game, either digitally or physically. So why would they give you a cheaper option to do that when they're willing to pay $60?
Well, let's see what happens this year when people, because of the current crisis, don't have the money to spend on the brand new Madden.
People, you understand how people's priorities work, right?
Oh, no, I understand how people's priorities work, but it's, okay, do I want to eat this month or do I want to play Madden this month?
Right. We're getting way off on a tangent here, by the way. This has very little to... I mean, it does have something to do with it.
It has something to do with it, but I do like, though, with new IPs, though, sometimes new things emerge. Like, all this Battle Royale stuff probably would never have come about if we just kept pumping sequels.
Yep, I agree.
So occasionally you do get the new things, and that's what I like. Like, that's why, and like, what was it? Like, last year, almost everybody thought Battle Royale for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was going to be the new standard. I mean, it kind of has become that, to be honest.
Favorite joke was still FIFA Battle Royale.
FIFA Battle Royale.
So
for me, though, like, I love sequels. How excited was I for Rogue Legacy 2 when that was announced? I am all about that game. I am comfortable with that formula, that gameplay style, those mechanics. I want more of that, and I want to start over without just playing the whole same game again. And I want you to make tweaks, and I want you to give me some new stuff to make it more exciting. So I love sequels. But if I were honest, and I've talked about this in the show in the past, a big reason that I play games is to have a really awesome story. I'm not playing Rogue Legacy for a story. I'm playing for the gameplay and for that grind and seeing those numbers go up and that satisfaction. But I get the really good story stuff from new IPs, I think. Well, that's not fair, because I get some good story stuff in like the Assassin's Creed games, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's no new story elements, but I like being wowed by a completely brand new universe. I like jumping into a new franchise that feels fresh and new completely, where I'm learning things as I go. I mean, remember the first time you jumped into BioShock?
Yeah.
Like, and just like, this is a whole brand new place. Now it's like a household name. Oh, we went, you go to Rapture, and now we got BioShock 2, and then we went to Columbia and all this, and that's all household. But the first time you went to those places, it was glorious. It was experiencing something for the first time. How many times have we said that I wish I could go back and play that game for the first time again? You only get those experiences with brand new games, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where I feel that with sequels, you can only beat a dead horse so many times.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, there's a reason why we haven't had a Dead Space 4. Like,
yeah, but why haven't we had a Portal 3? Come on, Valve.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, same thing with Half-Life 3, man.
No,
so
I don't have any allegiance to that franchise. So.
Yeah, but I feel that with the nature of games, you can't have sequels without new IPs. Like,
sure, I mean, obviously
they're hand in hand. So that's why I feel that there just needs to be a balance.
But
rather than
you can have new IPs without sequels, though.
yes, you can just have new IPs.
Yeah.
But what happens when you find that really, really good game that you're like, we have so much more to tell, and nothing ever comes of it?
So let's say an either or. I feel like we've both been very safe with this. Like, well, let's just have both. You can't have both. You have to choose one.
New
if you
IPs.
had to choose one, you would take new IPs over. Yeah, I would too.
Because, like I said, you can only play the same thing so many times unless it's a score grab.
Well, I'm not saying it has to be the same thing. It's just this new game is now in the Assassin's Creed universe, or this is in the Horizon Zero Dawn universe. It's a sequel to all those games. So you'll have some new experiences, you'll have new story beats, but it's going to be in the same universe.
But when it comes to games like Assassin's Creed Origins, I don't really feel that that's a sequel.
Well,
so
it's in the franchise.
It's in the franchise. But
the main story still follows the Templars and the Assassins and all that, so you've got that going for it. But each of those games is like its own independent story outside of the Ezio trilogy that, is all followed Ezio, right? But you started with Altair, moved to Ezio, then Connor, then Kenway, and then Bayek. Help me out here. What was it?
Alexios.
And Alessandra?
Cassandra,
thank you.
And now new guy, Ivor. I
believe that I heard it pronounced differently on a podcast. I want to say it was Eivor.
Or if it's Ivor, if it's a male, Eivor, it's a female.
I don't know. I don't know the culture well enough. But anyway, yes, those are all independent stories because they take place in different timelines. But they all tie together some way, right?
Yeah.
They're all Apple of Eden. They're all Templars versus Assassins. We're telling some backstory. We're learning new, there's always the real world stuff that ties it together somehow.
Yeah. I just feel that if I had to choose between the two, I would take the new IP.
Well, yeah.
So just because over time, if only sequels were ever being made, eventually you're going to have games that are going to merge into one another.
Right.
So
and this is totally an impossible scenario. There's no way that either one of these scenarios could actually happen, right? It's just, you got to choose just for discussion's sake.
Well, actually, like now that I come to think about it, if you only ever could make sequels, at what point in time are sequels going to start merging? Like you'd have Mario show up in a Link game. Is that now a new IP because you have two merging things together?
No, that's not new IP. I mean, that's like the very definition of IP is brand new, never been seen before.
Okay.
Right? That's why I argued with you about Blair Witch being a new IP. Just because it's new to video games doesn't mean it's a new IP.
Okay.
That would just be a crossover. That would be like saying Laverne and Shirley is a new IP.
Okay.
It's a spin-off. Right? Those characters may have existed briefly on, what was it, Happy Days? Or no, Joni Loves Chachi? Which one was it?
One of them shows.
One of those, I can't remember.
They're all the same.
But Laverne and Shirley spawned from another TV show. You wouldn't call that a new IP, right?
Maybe.
Now we're getting into semantics argument.
Yeah, we are.
This is not what I wanted.
But again, we've beat the sequel dead horse so much that now we're merging things.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I still want more of the games that I love. I just got done talking about Portal. I would happily take another Portal game.
Actually, I don't think you could. I don't think you could do only new IPs.
Why?
Because then you would never have another Zelda game or another Metroid game.
See, I'd be more upset. As crazy as this sounds, I would be upset about not having another Metroid game more than I would not having another Zelda game.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you could go down the new IP route.
Well, look at it this way. where do you start that line? Because if we say, okay, there's no sequels, we never would have had Metroid 2 and never would have had Metroid 3, so I may not have had the affinity for the franchise that I did without all those sequels behind it. So I wouldn't be super excited about Zelda and Metroid if I didn't have all of those games from the library to remember. All I had was the original, which I loved, but I really fell in love with the Zelda series the most with the third one. And if that never existed because there's no sequels, now I'm not missing it quite as much because I love the Zelda franchise, not just that first game.
Okay. Is it a sequel? Is a reboot or a remaster a sequel?
Oh my God, don't get started on that argument.
Because then you could just keep remaking the same game every console generation.
Just better graphics?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about like the Resident Evil or Final Fantasy VII treatment?
Technically, it's not a sequel.
No. See, now you're getting tricky because RE2 remake is the exact same story. Well, not exact, but very similar story.
It's a variant.
Gameplay is completely different. Everything about that game is completely different, but it's not a sequel.
Yeah, it's an interesting line to walk because you were like, where do you draw the line? And I'm like, is a reboot or is a remaster a sequel? Because it's not the exact same game.
Yeah, but it's also not a new IP. So it by default would not fall under new IP. It would have to fall under a sequel.
But there's new story beats.
It's not a new IP. There are new elements of it, but it would still fall under the. If you had to go one or two, you almost had to develop a third category, which there is no third category in this discussion.
But it does bring up some interesting points because with some reboots and remakes, like you shut your mouth. So.
Somebody settled this for us. Sometimes I wish we had a live audience. We should do that where we have people that can type in and chat while we're recording. It would make it interesting.
Well, you know what? I feel that we need to go to the community to get some feedback.
Well, real quick before you do, we're both in the we would prefer new IPs.
New IPs.
Okay. All right.
So I'm gonna start. Samuel Smith. I enjoy sequels to games I love. Good point. But as an artist, I tend to gravitate to fresh ideas. I really love to see new IPs and new stories. There's nothing more exciting than diving into a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view, that no one to tell us no or where to go or say we're only dreaming. Wow. God,
you just realized that's what that was, didn't you?
I walked into the trap. Darn you, Samuel Smith.
I love that you didn't realize that's what he was doing. Yeah. I thought, I don't think he knows. I don't think no one to tell us no or where to go.
Yeah. Nope. I fell into the trap. You got me.
That was great.
So I'm going to let you read the next one.
Okay. This one comes from Sean Coates, who says, why not both? Of course, we all say we want original IPs, but it's obviously a more risky endeavor and a harder pitch in the eyes of a studio executive than it is just to make another product in a proven successful franchise. That's a really good point, actually. New IPs are a risk. If you want to do something brand new, you don't know if they're going to like it. So it's a bigger risk for the developers. From that perspective, I totally understand the hesitation to fund original ideas. On the other hand, of course, there's nothing wrong with sequels either. But we do seem to have some big original ideas on the horizon. To my knowledge, Ghost of Tsushima is an original IP, and Cyberpunk 2077 is based on an obscure 80s board game, so it may as well be an original IP. I suppose getting original IPs made relies on the reputation of a developer's previous projects. And I think CD Projekt Red is exactly the case in that situation.
Yeah. So actually, when you were reading Sean's thing, I thought of a really interesting point going back to what we were talking about before with reboots and remasters.
Okay.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
What do you mean?
The new one. That is definitely not the same game.
It's not the same game, but it's an iteration of Battle Royale.
No. Not the Battle Royale. I'm talking the remake of Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh,
Same
but
characters, completely new story.
that was still a sequel, though, right? It wasn't the same
No,
story.
that was not a sequel.
It was the same story? It's been a long time since I played.
It kind of was a prequel.
Okay. Prequel falls under sequel.
Two different things.
Oh, my goodness. Now you're really
Splitting
splitting hairs. So if it happens before, it's not a sequel, so then it becomes a new IP.
But
come on.
But I will say, to me, like, I couldn't think of a franchise that really got played out.
Uh-huh.
And as you were reading that, Call of Duty hit me. It got to the point that Call of Duty was so played out. Look at Ghosts and Infinite Warfare. They were not that well received.
Yeah, but that's 2 out of how many that weren't that well received? Still a
But that's the thing, is it gets to the point that you can only make so many sequels before you're like, this is dumb. And you lose your fan base.
They didn't.
I stopped buying them.
You bought Modern Warfare.
But that brought me back because it was something that I liked that was from before.
Right.
But Black Ops 4, nope, stopped. Didn't buy it. In fact, I didn't buy Ghosts or Infinite Warfare. They were given to me.
Mm-hmm. I played 4. I had a lot of fun with 4.
So, but anyways.
Why don't you take the next 2?
Adam Zed, in this era of sequels, prequels, and reboots, I really hunger for brand new IPs. I completely agree with you, man.
So do I.
So, also, Thomas Beck's, I want both, but only when it's done right. Like movies, sequels should only be made if there's a reason for it. Otherwise, it will be pointless and dilute the merits of what came before. I completely agree.
That's a good point.
So,
I'm trying to think of an example where a sequel was made that was unnecessary, and I can't
Fast and
think of one.
Furious.
No, those movies only got better.
Oh, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
They did.
No.
As a guy who watched the first 8 in one sitting in one day, yes, those movies got better as they went.
Mortal Kombat.
I don't remember Mortal Kombat.
Nate, I'm willing to bet Nate, our producer, would kind of agree with me that those got worse over time.
Yeah.
So
But you said Annihilation was the good one.
No.
No?
Annihilation was awful.
Okay, never mind then. Never mind. Going on, Kevin Honigford. I thoroughly enjoy sequels. I love games that tell a story and going for that ride with the artist. Sequels, prequels, spin-offs, whatever they are, expand on the story I enjoyed and let me dive deeper into something I enjoy. While they have definitely been a handful of poor experiences I've had with them, looking at you, Final Fantasy X-2, I've generally enjoyed them. One thing that really, really gets under my skin, though, is when a sequel is released on a platform other than the one the original was released on. I never played Crisis Core because I never owned a PSP. Burns fresh now, having just finished Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm in the same boat. It bothers me when they put a sequel to something on a platform that
didn't start on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, at least make it available on both.
I could agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't consider the Final Fantasy games sequels to one another.
Yeah.
Like that's an interesting case. Because each one of the Final Fantasy games, even though they are numbered sequentially, I do not feel that they are sequels. Because each is its own independent story.
No, they all are independent stories.
And
they're not
necessarily even in the same universe.
Right. Although, well, didn't Cloud wind up in Final Fantasy Tactics? Like they drew him in from another dimension or something at one point?
But that's the thing, is he was drawn in from another dimension.
Right.
So.
But I mean, they both exist. I mean, you could have a whole semantics argument there as well. So
that's a fun one. I love semantics. So.
Well, that was a fun topic. We actually disagreed quite a bit. That doesn't happen too often. I think it's more of an interesting conversation when we do.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, for next week's episode, we are going to be talking about the state of the podcast. We are looking at doing some changes to the format, how we do things, how we bring on guests and all that. We want to make this a podcast that you guys want to listen to, and we want to draw in more listeners. So we're looking for some feedback from you guys on how we can go about doing that. So stay tuned to Facebook, Twitter, and Discord for our From the Outside In topic about ways we can improve the show. We want to hear some honest feedback, constructive criticism, please. It would be, we're looking for ways that we can improve, not for just a constant, you guys are doing this wrong. But we do take all feedback to heart. So stay tuned for that next week. Also, if you would like to join our Facebook community, the website is facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. I love how I said the website is facebook.com, like people don't know that. That's pretty awesome. Our Discord community is alive and well, and you can find the link for that in the show notes for this episode. We got 2 new members over there, Golden Boy and Pure Ownage. Welcome to the community. Hope you're enjoying the conversations over there. Also, if you get a chance, please drop us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. It really helps us get the word out about the show, and we would love to hear from you and get some feedback on ways that we can make the show a better place for you. Lastly, our website, thegamingoutsider.com. It has all of our episodes and all of our written reviews for any games that we've covered. Zach's review for The Inner Friend is up. You can check that out. Spencer also wrote a review on Megabyte Punch, which he's going to be talking about on an upcoming episode. Thomas talked about Summit of the Wolf last week. You can read his written review on the site. And then Nate, our producer, wrote a review for a game called Skyracket that he talked about a couple weeks ago. So check out the website for those and click them, read them. Let us know what you think about them. It really does help us get our numbers up. We do appreciate it. With that, let's jump into the games we've actually been playing. All right, so this is the point of the show where Zach usually reads off the new games coming out. Unfortunately, since he's not here, I'm going to be taking over. So Virtuaverse hits PC on May 12th. Deep Rock Galactic finally comes to Xbox One and PC on May 13th. Wasn't that announced at E3 like 2 years ago?
I believe so.
It's like a Minecraft-ish. Like I feel like you're mining with these short dwarfs-looking characters.
Yeah, it's a 4-player up to 4-player co-op, which is a shooter and then loot, like I guess shooter looter kind of.
Sounds interesting. Super Mega Baseball 3. If you're itching for some baseball, since we don't have any in real life, that may be a possibility for you. That hits PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on May 13th. Ion Fury, which you're going to hear Rel talk about here in the next couple minutes. It is a very classic style first-person shooter in the vein of Doom or
Duke
Wolfenstein. Duke Nukem, but it's like in that style, that art style. That hits PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on May 14th. It's been on PC for a while, so it's finally hitting consoles. And then Oddworld Munch's Odyssey on Switch on May 14th. That's got to be a port, right? I remember that game being on PS1,
that's a port.
I think. Yeah. So any of these stand out to you, CB?
I actually was watching the trailers. Did you watch the trailer for Virtuaverse?
I did not.
Man, that game has if that soundtrack is in the game, that is going to be awesome.
What kind of game is it? It's
a point and click.
Oh, okay.
So
Thomas will be all over that.
Yeah. But I actually might play Ion Fury just because it's essentially a Duke Nukem game. Yeah. And John St. John is in it.
Oh, he is in it?
He plays the villain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to have to probably give it a whirl.
I'm kind of intrigued by Deep Rock Galactic. I like some co-op games, and I remember being intrigued by it at E3, but I had to look into it a little bit more. Is that Game Pass by chance?
I have a feeling that's going to be a Game Pass game.
I hope so. I can't remember. I feel like the Game Pass games are kind of sneaking up on us. I had no idea Streets of Rage 4 was going to be on Game Pass, and lo and behold, it was on Game Pass, so that worked out well. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the games we've personally been playing. I want to talk to you about a game I've picked up this past week. It came recommended from a community member. Brian Regals up in Wisconsin posted on our Facebook page and said, "You guys got to check out this game. It's a Castlevania style game." He showed like the credits. He had finished it. I had never heard of it. He posted the trailer. We all watched it, and a bunch of us were excited. I decided to pick it up. It was on sale for $12. The game is called Grimvalor, all one word. and I believe that this was a cell phone game. And before you roll your eyes and freak out, this is a platformer slasher that I feel was on mobile first.
Well, I watched the trailer and I'm trying to imagine how that would have looked on there.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see it. I mean, the game looks super interesting, and
it is really interesting. It's I'm not gonna say Metroidvania because I don't feel like there's a ton of backtracking. There is some. There's not an over. You know, like when you play a Metroid or a Castlevania, and you've got like those grid maps, and you kind of study it and see where you got to go. This one doesn't work that way. It's completely 2D, but each section of the map acts as a room on your overworld map. So if you imagine your overworld map has like 7 or 8 rooms.
Okay.
But each of those rooms is like the length of a level, if you were. So like then when you move on to the next room, then it goes to the map and it loads and shows that you're going to the next area, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at its core, it's a melee focused game. You have the ability to dodge, and you can you get new weapons. You can carry 2 weapons at a time. One that's your primary attack, and one that's your charge attack. So your primary attack is just what it sounds like. You swipe and swipe and swipe. Your charge attack does more damage and may do some stun damage to the enemies, which becomes advantageous. So the interesting thing about this is that it becomes very strategic with the bosses. There is some memorization. It feels very old school, and like when you fight the bosses, you have to memorize the patterns and all that. But again, as a guy that has not played Dark Souls, so when I say it reminds me a little bit of Dark Souls, understand I've played very, very little of those games. This is nowhere near as difficult as those games. I'm not nearly as frustrated. But the dodging and rolling and waiting for the opportune moments and everything reminds me of looking for those moments when I played the one on PS4, Bloodborne.
Okay.
You're just constantly getting out of the way and looking for those opportunities to strike, or just wear down the enemy and then get out to dodge. It's you can't just hack your way through it and get lucky. You really have to be strategic with some of these bosses. But
so you can't Dead Cells it?
No, not at all. There are upgrades. You collect. I can't even remember the currency that you pick up. It's some kind of spirit orbs or something. Those you can you turn in for new items at a shop. There's a place where you can buy new weapons. You can buy new flasks for your health because that's where the Dark Souls comes in. Did you play Dark Souls? I don't remember.
Yeah.
So you know how you have those flasks. Like if you run low on energy, you can kind of refill your energy, but it takes like the animation for using it leaves you vulnerable to attack.
Oh, geez.
So you have to like find a nice place to do it. Let me put it this way: this game is tough enough that I can't imagine playing this on a phone without like a controller port. You know what I mean? Like where you set your phone on top of a controller.
Yeah.
This would be ridiculously difficult to play with touch controls. It requires that much fidelity.
Well, I mean, at the moment you said like it's kind of like a Castlevania game, just the idea of playing a game like that with a touch screen on a phone
sounds miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, have you tried to play a Mega Man game on your phone?
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
I'm still amazed that there's people out there that can play like the Call of Duty mobile.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, at least isn't that where you're aiming with your phone though? At least like you actually like rotoscope the aim.
I don't know. I've never played it, so yeah. I might have to look into that.
Mm-hmm. But I'm digging this game. I haven't finished it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it just because I've heard it's like 15 hours. So I don't know if I'm going to stick with it because it's tough. Here's what's really cool about it. This is one of my favorite parts. You know me being a guy that likes to see areas completed. Like when I play Assassin's Creed, I like to finish that one area before I move on. So the way this game works is that like in this first world, I told you like maybe there's like 7 or 8 areas. I said rooms. That's not the right way. There's 7 or 8 areas. when you finish one, you go to the next one, it gives you a percentage of how much of that room you've completed, how many secrets you found. And my initial instinct was to go back and to do the 100%, which you can't always do because you may need to get some kind of ability to be able to access some of the secrets in that room.
So that's where the Metroidvania.
That's where the Metroid comes in, but it doesn't feel, there's not quite as much backtracking because you don't really have to do it. But you are incentivized to do it because I hit a boss that I just could not figure out. It just kept overpowering me. And I thought I had his pattern down, and I just, no matter how much I whittled him down, it just took too much, and I just could not outlast this boss. So I said, well, I'm tired of fighting this boss. I'm going to go back and try to clear these rooms. Went back 100%ed everything, and as I did it, I'm earning experience. I'm increasing the stats of my character. I'm finding new things to be able to purchase new weapons. So by just going and doing the thing I normally do in these types of games and 100%ing each area, I'm increasing my stats of my character anyway. And then when I finally got to the boss, it was much easier. Not like it wasn't a walk in the park. I still had to fight my way for it, but I thought that was kind of cool. This game also does a deal where you are being hunted. All of a sudden it'll say on the screen, you are being hunted. And so some big boss is after you and chasing you. And it's not just him, it's also his minions. And they're tough. I found one that I could not pass for the life of me. I had to come back. I have to go back later. But they do the Bloodborne thing where you finish it and it says Hunter destroyed, or what, I can't remember what it was, but it feels very satisfying to see these words on the screen. Even though you didn't work for it nearly as hard as you did in Bloodborne or Dark Souls. But
okay.
So thank you to Brian for the recommendation. Again, I don't know if I'm going to stick with it because we got a bevy of new games rolling in for review, but this was a good distraction for this week and something new to talk about. And I would like to come back to it at some point. Again, the game is called Grimvalor, and I am playing it on the Nintendo Switch. All right, at this time, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to let you listen to a couple reviews. I sat down with Rel from Rel Plays on YouTube. He played Ion Fury, which we just talked about. And then I also invited Alyssa on the show. It's been a while since she came and joined us. She played a game called Arcade Spirits, and I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to those reviews right now. All right, I am here with Rel from Rel Plays, as well as Alyssa. Rel, how you doing, man?
I am doing pretty good.
Yeah? How is baby treating you?
He's treating me like a parent, which is to say, you must fulfill my needs now, or I will psychologically torture you with endless crying.
Hey, that sounds pretty normal. Also, Alyssa White, it's been a long time since we've had you on. How are you doing, dear?
I'm doing pretty well.
That's awesome. So good to talk to you again. You guys are here to talk to us about a couple games you've been playing. We're going to start with Rel. I'm really intrigued by Ion Fury. This one comes from developer Voidpoint, and it was provided to us by Stride PR. This looks very old school in terms of, like, it feels like an old Doom shooter or Duke Nukem or something like that, but ramped up to 11. Is that an adequate description?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the developers are 3D Realms, and I believe they are the ones who made Duke Nukem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, let me Google them real quick. Just to know exactly how much stuff they... Yeah, Duke Nukem, Max Payne, Commander... Wolfenstein. I mean, there you go. Yeah, it is, I would say, N64, PlayStation 1 level of graphical fidelity. Very, very chunky guns, gun noises and effects. You know, bloody gibs flying everywhere. Just, you move like you're running at a full sprint at all times. There is no walk button. You know, there's endless enemies. There's no cover. You know, you don't duck behind cover. You shoot things in the face.
Now, do you have vertical shot with your reticle? Because I know, like in Doom and those, you know, you could only go left to right. That was it.
Yeah, but that was more of a limitation of the time. With this game, yeah, it's full vertical. Enemies are coming at you from all sides, from above, from below. Doesn't matter. You shoot them in the face.
Nice.
Now, does this cause motion sickness like Doom used to? Like, when you'd go down the hall and it'd be like, oh, motion sickness, oh.
I'm not sure. I mean, because I don't get motion sickness.
Oh, okay.
Like, ever. But I know the way that Doom worked and the way that it displayed graphics is not exactly how Ion Fury does. Doom had that kind of weird, like, parallax effect where you're walking down a hallway and it's just all sort of coming towards you, almost like it's sliding towards you. And this is more along the lines of, like, if Doom 64 gave you motion sickness, then this would give you motion sickness, yes. If not, then probably not. But as someone, like I said, who does not get motion sickness, I can't speak with authority.
Now, you mentioned it looks like 64 graphics, but does it play like a Nintendo 64 game, or have they upped that up, like, you know, the frames per second and all that?
Oh, no. I mean, it's a, like, I played it on PC, full disclosure, but I think for every console, it's going to hit a solid 60, no matter what. Like, there wasn't really any hitches or anything. Everything was, like, fast, buttery. Like, actually, I didn't even think about Doom when I first played it. My first thought when I was playing it was Unreal Tournament.
Okay. It's that quick, huh?
Yeah, that level of speed and just, you know, snapshot, shotgun to the face type of thing.
Okay. So, I mean, is there any semblance of a story, or is this just run and gun?
It's kind of run and gun. I'm sure I missed something. Like, I'm sure maybe there was some kind of, like, intro text crawl that came maybe before the title screen, perhaps, that I missed. But, like, the game just starts out, you're in a bar, a gunship blows up the side of the bar, and then you go out into the city and shoot dudes in the face. And, like, as I went on, I sort of understood what was happening, which was evil genius with an army of robots, which I later learned by reading the Steam page were actually cybernetic cultists, are attempting to take over the city, and you as Shelley Bombshell Harrison, who was getting her drink on, and now is not because a gunship blew up the side of your favorite bar, is going to stop them, because nobody gets in the way of Shelley and her drink.
Yeah, how dare they? How dare they blow up that bar?
It's the best bar. They made the best appletini.
This sounds really cool, and I guess the question I've got then, you know, because it does have this old school feel to it, is, and just over the top action, and you're doing nothing but shooting dudes in the face, like you said. Is that a good thing? Are you enjoying this game?
So for me, it had a couple of like, one minor quibble that may not really matter to everybody, and then one other thing that annoyed me more. So one minor quibble that I had was that it takes a lot from old school shooters in the days, like, you know, mid-90s shooters. Doom, Wolfenstein, was it Duke Nukem, Descent, in that, you know, there's big open environments, there's lots to explore, lots of things to shoot, plenty of secrets to find as well. Like, you remember you play Wolfenstein, you'd like mash yourself against a wall and keep hitting a button, and you would eventually find a secret door that would reveal some loot. Ion Fury has a ton of those things. But it also has a lot of wide open maps with objectives that are not super clear. I mean, you know, it's clear in the sense that, oh, an elevator is broken. I have to turn on the elevator. Okay, how do I do that? Look around until you find a thing. And in more than one level, I would be running through the level. I'd have killed everyone in the immediate vicinity. I could not, for the life of me, find any other places that I could go to. And the game only provides, like, an overlay map. Like, it shows you kind of a wireframe of the level around you, and it just imprints that over your screen. It doesn't actually pause anything, right? Okay. And then it also has another more detailed map with actual, like, you know, colors and details of where you are and whatnot. And again, that's just overlaid onto the screen. It's not paused. You can move around while you're looking at the map. And for the life of me, in several levels, I could not figure out where to go. I finally had to activate in-game cheats to give myself no clip in order to walk through walls and find the objective. And even then, after I'd found the objective, I could not figure out, I could not, like, you know, reverse engineer how I could have gotten to that spot.
Oh, interesting.
I could not figure it out. Now, granted, when I was a kid and I played like Wolfenstein and especially Descent, when the game would progress onward and it would get those big open maps with multiple keys you would need to find, I would often get lost. I could not parse those big maps. And so that might just be me. That's sort of the minor quibble. I couldn't find my way around. That might be my fault. The bigger one that I think... Yep, go ahead.
Well, hey, before you go on to your bigger quibble there, I just want to ask, do you think that this was something that was done intentional to bring back those nostalgic feelings of that? Because I think we all dealt with that with those classic games.
Yeah, I think so. Because this is a mid-90s era style shooter. And so it has... big open maps were a staple at the time, especially as you got further into the games. And so I think that was a deliberate thing, especially since they intentionally hid a whole bunch of secrets in these maps.
Gotcha. I that's kind of how I took it. Like they just wanted to give us that old school feel of those games.
Yeah, but I think
anyway, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No worries. But I also do think that there were some aspects of older games where, far be it for me to tell developers to hold my hand more, but I think making it a little more obvious, like where I need to go, would have helped a lot. But again,
like an objective marker.
Yeah, objective marker, or just a slight indication of which direction I need to be headed in. Okay. But in terms of like the bigger thing that bugged me is the way it deals with ammo. And this is going to sound kind of weird, but maybe you can commiserate with me on this.
Okay.
It uses a single digit, similar to Doom, a single digit for your ammunition, right? So you have like 60 rounds for your shotgun. And there's no like indication that you have 5 shots and then you have to reload. But you still have to reload in this game. And it does not tell you how many shots you have left.
Yeah, I think we've come so accustomed to seeing how many we have in the clip or magazine or, in the shotgun or whatever. You just don't have that at all.
Yeah, and that bugged me throughout the game. Because I did figure out through counting how many shots each gun has before it needs to be reloaded. But... it's one of those things that's like, okay, wait, did I fire 4 shots or 5? God dang it. Okay, shoot a dude and then find out. And then suddenly I'm reloading in the middle of a firefight when I could have done it 2 seconds ago. Like, come on, game.
See, that's where I just reload after every time I shoot. That's just like my standard, when I'm playing
I don't want to have to count my shots every time.
Yeah, like I would say they were going for realism, except you're shooting cybernetic cultists with the equivalent of an electrified crossbow, I think.
Oh,
so
man, I gotta play this game.
And what's even weirder is you're firing this electrified crossbow. You're firing like 6 shots and then you reload, instead of just once. Like what? I don't know.
Well, minor quibbles aside, do you recommend people play this game?
I do. It's a good game. It's really fun. I mean, like I said, the ammo thing bugged me. I'm the kind of person who likes to have my magazine topped off at all times, but it's such a good game. It is, if you grew up with those old school shooters like Doom and Wolfenstein and Duke Nukem, and you want another taste of that, Ion Fury is definitely up your alley.
Awesome. And I know you're putting together a video review for everybody. When will that be up and where can they find it?
That will be up on the 13th, which is also when the embargo is up. And I should mention, the game is already out on Steam for $25 American, but the 13th is when it's going to come to all major consoles. I wanted to play the Steam version because I can't handle shooters on twin sticks, but you can find my review of the game, which should be the same on all platforms, at youtube.com/relplays. That's RELLE plays, and that'll be going up first thing on Wednesday the 13th.
Awesome. Looking forward to that, man. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on to Alyssa. You have been playing a game for us called Arcade Spirits from Fiction Factory Games, and we got to say thanks to P-Cube. That's a PR firm that hooked us up with that. This is one that you actually reached out to me and said, Scott, I want to review this game really badly.
Yeah, I saw it as soon as Nintendo posted the trailer on their YouTube channel that it was coming to Switch, and it said coming out today. So I'm like, I need to message Scott and ask for this game because it looks right up my alley.
Yeah, so talk to me about it, because I get the, dating simulator vibe from it, mixed with some romantic comedy. I've never played a dating sim that wasn't oh my goodness, what was that crazy Japanese one that wound up not even being what I thought it was?
Hot Boyfriend?
No. It was
Oh.
it wound up being a psychological deal.
Doki
Doki
Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I assume that this is not what this is, because that was just a completely messed up game. But so talk to me about Arcade Spirits. What is it?
Okay, so you play as either a man or a woman. You can customize your character to a degree. It's not extensive, but you can change their skin tone, gender, hair length and hair color, eye color, and then the color of their clothing. That's it. You don't get to change their face or anything. But you do get to choose those options, and you have just lost your job, your best friend is concerned, and they install an app on your phone, and the app projects a hologram from your phone, and it guides you towards your dream job, and it asks you if you want to pursue a romance, and there's 3 options. There's basically, yes, I want to pursue a romance. I'll keep my options open, but I'm going to focus on work, or I just want to remain professional. I have no idea if you choose, I just want to remain professional if you skip the dating part altogether, but I chose the middle option. But it's really cool because the app sets you up with a job at an arcade, and there are so many just little Easter eggs and nods to retro games such as Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Donkey Kong sprinkled throughout, and I just love all of the characters in this game. They're charming. The art style is gorgeous and beautiful and cheerful, full of vibrant colors. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost finished with it. It's really, really good.
Okay, very cool. So I assume, because again, not playing this genre of game much at all, it's very much a dialogue, text-driven, choose your own adventure style game, correct?
Yeah. With the app in the game, they also give you this kind of personality test. So every time you select a dialogue option, it tells the app if you're gentle and kind, if you're logical, if you're kind of just the brute force type, or if you're just even keeled. So that's a cool option. But also, I do have to mention, this is a very, very, I mean, I wouldn't say it's family friendly because I don't see why kids would want to play this game. But I mean, there's no curse words in the game. Wherever there would be a curse word, there's little symbols, and you don't even read it. So, and the dating parts are very, very tame. You don't see anything. There's no inappropriate aspect. There's nothing. Like, you just kind of tell someone you love them, and they're like, I love you too, and that's it. You don't
So
see
is that
anything,
like the end game? Is your goal to just have a relationship and game over where we get married? I don't know how these work.
I don't believe so. I believe it's just following your dream and living your dream to its fullest. It's not really about the romance. It's more about you working at the arcade and just making friends with all the employees there and experiencing life and just delving into the arcade scene.
Sounds good. You recommend people check this one out?
I do. If you don't like to read a lot, probably not if you're not into visual novels, but again, the dating aspect is very tame. I mean, someone could walk past you while you're playing it. They're not going to be bothered by anything. You don't have to be embarrassed to hide your Switch or anything like that.
Okay.
And there are some parts that are voice acted. They're just randomly sprinkled throughout, but the voice acting is also excellent. So I do recommend it. It's very charming. If you're into video games, which if you're listening to this, you are, there are a lot of nods to classic games, and it just gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling when you're playing.
Very cool. Again, that is Arcade Spirits, which you were playing on the Nintendo Switch. And you'll have a written review up here in the next week or so as well, correct?
Yes, I will.
All right. Everybody can read that on our website, which is thegamingoutsider.com. Well, that's going to do it, guys. Thanks so much for stopping by and sharing your experiences with these games. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And we'll catch you guys later. You have a good one, all right?
You too.
Right. Later.
All right. So those are the new games we've been playing. CB, you still playing catch-up this week?
Almost done. Almost done. I'm one chapter away from finishing Final Fantasy VII Remake.
One chapter?
One chapter away. And
I thought, earlier today you said you were finally at Shinra.
Yeah, I'm almost cleared the entire building already.
Okay. I need to talk to you after you finish it, because we can't talk, on the air. But I need to talk to you.
Yeah, and then
go listen to our spoiler cast.
Okay. And then I got my my Oculus Quest is back in my possession again. So I played some Pixel Ripped, and I played Audio Shield, man. And
I didn't know that was on Quest.
Oh yeah, it's on Quest, and it's so good. So good.
Is it a workout like Pistol Whip?
Yeah. I played 4 or 5 songs. There's a couple things about it that I don't like this version of it.
Uh-huh. Well, you should probably explain what it is, because I know what the game is, but our listeners might not.
So Audio Shield is a music rhythm game where you're in VR and your one arm has an orange shield, one arm has a blue shield, and you can play whatever music you want.
Oh, so it's not just the tracks?
No, there's actually no preloaded tracks. You play your own library.
So can you import from Spotify, or
you can? So when I played it on the HTC Vive, you could just load straight into YouTube and play whatever music you wanted. In this, you actually have to put it into Dropbox or a Google Drive, and then import it into the headset.
Oh, okay.
And it generates these orbs that come at you, and you have to block them with your shield. And it's such a fun game. It's a good workout for your arms. The first
song, you have to block the shield, the blue orbs with the blue shield.
Yep, blue with blue, orange with orange, and then occasionally you'll see a purple one where you actually have to cross the blue and the orange together to make purple and block those.
Do blue and orange make purple? I thought red and blue made purple.
Yeah, red and blue make purple, but in this game, it makes like light purple.
Okay.
So it's a lot of fun. The first song I played was Dragon Force, Fury of the Storm.
Of course.
So it's very hard. And it has the step up levels: easy, normal, hard, and then show off. Where it's basically just a constant blur of orbs coming at you.
You tried it?
No. I can get through hard. It's very difficult because there's a lot of crossover.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have a blue and an orange coming at you, and then right behind them there'll be 2 more orbs, but they'll be on the opposite sides.
Oh, so does this go 360 degrees?
No, it's about a 120? Not a little greater than a 120 arc.
Okay.
Probably 140. But nice. Yeah, it is. And it comes at different planes too. So there'll be, I'd probably say a good 65-degree plane in front of you where they'll come flat, or they'll come at an angle above you. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. So
nice. So Pixel Ripped 95 is as good as Spencer says.
That game is great.
Yeah.
That I understand why Spencer gave that game such glowing reviews. You would love it.
Yeah,
you would enjoy this game.
Yeah. Gotta do some VR one of these days after all this madness is done.
Yep. Yes, we do.
You miss anything, or you got it all?
No, that's about all I've really got. I'm just trying to, like I said, pound out Final Fantasy VII so I can be over and done with it.
Nice. That's about it for me as well. I am planning to jump back into Children of Morta. I know some people are tired of me hearing that, but I've heard they've patched it and made the game even better. So, and there's a free update that just dropped where they dropped a whole bunch of, there's a new game plus and all these different animations and fun stuff. So I may jump back into that this week, but also fingers crossed we get a Gears game going for community game night, because I would love to do some Gears. That'd be fun. So, well, CB, thanks so much for being here, man. It was good chatting with you.
Oh yeah, it's always great to be here.
Yeah, we miss you, Zach. Wish you could be here. Hopefully we can get your tech stuff figured out next week. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Gaming Outsider. CB, any parting words before we get out of here?
No, because I'm tired of beating the COVID crap. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to recommend a documentary that is not brand new by any means, but my wife turned on this McMillions documentary the other night. If you're not familiar with it, it's an HBO documentary that is now available on Hulu. It's about the scandal with the Monopoly piece, the game they did at McDonald's back in the 90s. And I'm only 2 episodes in. I think there's 6 in total. And it is fascinating, at least the first 2 episodes. If you're interested at all, I highly recommend that documentary. I'm having a lot of fun watching it. You will not believe the depths that thing went, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So check that one out. And to everybody else out there, thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Chris Berensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.